New at 5, lead paint is still a big issue in the Miami Valley. In fact, a recent study revealed Dayton is among the worst cities in the nation for the risk of lead paint exposure. That's despite efforts by the state of Ohio and local leaders. News Center 7's Nick Foley explains the problem and things you can do to stay safe.
Although the use of lead-based paint has been banned in the U.S. since 1978, many older homes in the region still pose a health risk.
How much of this issue are you still seeing here in the Dayton metro area in the Miami Valley?
Pretty well any of the older houses. And when I say older houses, they could even be houses that are coming into the 80s if someone had some of grandpa's paint still around. But we're probably not going to always know that on the newer houses without doing testing. But all the older houses.
David Roach owns Buyer's Inspection Service in Dayton and says the biggest risk is not the paint itself, but rather when it chips or crumbles to dust, leading to exposure. A recent study by Home Gnome ranked the 500 biggest cities in the country on two major factors: lead exposure risk and lack of mitigation. And Dayton ranked 32nd behind fellow Ohio cities Cleveland and Cincinnati. Professional abatement and removal is the best option, but can be very costly. Roach says carefully priming and painting over lead-based paint and removing high flaky areas like doors and windowsills is also a viable method.
Most people, if they're careful and they have the replacement windows, their doors are working properly, and the paint is in decent condition, it adheres. One of the great things about lead paint is that it sticks to what it was put onto. So if it's not loose, it's not a problem.
Roach says the most important thing is identifying the paint is there with help from an expert. And then he recommends going with a licensed painting pro if you plan on covering it up and removing chips and flakes. Nick Foley, News Center 7.